Welcome everyone, it's Laura Jacques-Gilmour with your weekly collective card pull using my Remembering You Oracle deck. This reading is for the energy of August 8th to August 10th. And because Saturday is August 8th, the 8-8 portal, I wanted to include that energy in one of the questions for this week. The 8-8 portal is often viewed in spiritual communities as a symbolic time for reflecting on alignment, courage, possibility, and what you're ready to step into next. As always, just notice what stands out for you and trust what resonates. I created this deck to help you reconnect with your own inner knowing. It came through my own process of remembering who I was underneath all the roles, patterns, expectations, and old stories I'd been carrying. When I use these cards, I'm not using them to tell you what to do or to predict your future. And I'm definitely not using them to replace your intuition. For me, the cards are more like a mirror. They give language to what your body, your heart, and your own inner knowing might already be trying to tell you or show you. This week, I'm working with 3 questions to help us look at the energy of the week as a collective. We'll look at what is asking for awareness, what we may be ready to release and step into, and what can help us remain aligned with ourselves moving forward. The first question was, what energy is inviting us to come into greater awareness this week? Before I pulled the card, the message that came through for me was, take a moment to pause and see how far you've come this year. Sometimes when we become so focused on what still needs to be done, changed, or figured out, that we forget to notice what has actually already shifted. Then I pulled the card, Integration. I love how this card connects with that first message. Integration is what happens when something you've learned or understood begins to become part of how you actually live. It's one thing to have an insight. It's another thing to allow that insight to change the choices you make, the way you respond, or how you care for yourself. You might have moved through more this year than you have given yourself credit for. You may be responding differently to something that once overwhelmed you, and you might be recognizing an old pattern sooner, or maybe you're just beginning to trust yourself in places where you once looked outside yourself for answers. This week might be inviting you to slow down long enough to notice that. Not everything needs to become the next thing for you. Not everything needs to become the next thing you have to work on. Some things need time to settle. Maybe ask yourself, what have I learned, healed, or remembered this year that I'm now ready to embody more fully? Our second question was, what are we being invited to release, reclaim, or step into as we move through the energy of the 8-8 portal? Before I pulled the card, the words that came through for me were limiting beliefs and old roles that no longer serve us. The 8-8 portal is often spoken about as a time of possibility and stepping more fully into your own direction. But before you can step into something new, you might need to notice the beliefs or roles that are still telling you who you are supposed to be. Then I pulled the card, Listening. This card invites us to become quiet enough to hear what might already be trying to get our attention. Beneath the expectations, responsibilities, opinions, and noise around you, there might be a quieter truth. You might already know that a particular role no longer fits. You might already feel that a belief you have carried about yourself is no longer true, or you might sense that something needs to change, even though you don't know exactly what that change will look like. Listening doesn't mean that you have to force an immediate answer. It might simply mean creating enough space to notice the first feeling, word, image, or bodily response that arises. As we move through the energy of August 8th, maybe the invitation is not only to ask what you want to create next. Maybe it's also to ask, what old belief or role am I ready to stop carrying? And listen for what comes through. Our final question was, what can we carry forward beyond this week to remain more aligned with ourselves? Before I pulled the card, the answer that came through was believing in ourselves. Then I pulled the card discernment. At first, believing in yourself and discernment might sound like two different messages, but I think they belong together. Believing in yourself doesn't mean saying yes to every possibility or convincing yourself that everything is meant for you. Sometimes believing in yourself means trusting your ability to recognize what is right for you. Discernment invites you to notice what feels supportive, what feels draining, and what feels genuinely aligned. Not every opportunity needs to be accepted. Not every opinion needs to become your truth, and not every path that looks good from the outside will feel right once you begin walking it. Believing in yourself might look like pausing before you choose. Listening to the response within your body and allowing yourself to say yes, no, or not yet without needing everyone else to understand. This week, maybe ask yourself, what feels truly aligned for me right now? And notice whether the answer feels expansive, heavy, or neutral within you. When I look at these three cards together, integration, listening, and discernment, the message this week feels less like rushing towards new and more like recognizing what has already changed within you. Integration asks you to notice how far you've come. Listening asks you to become quiet enough to hear what no longer fits. And discernment asks you to trust yourself as you choose what comes next. As we move through the 8-8 portal on Saturday, you might feel drawn to think about what you want to call into your life. But maybe the deeper conversation is also about who you are becoming. What are you ready to embody? What are you ready to stop carrying? And what becomes possible when you trust yourself enough to choose what is truly aligned for you? You don't have to have every answer this week. Maybe you're simply being invited to pause, listen, and notice what you notice. If you'd like to follow the Remembering You Oracle deck as it moves toward its first physical printing, you can join the print launch list through the link in the description. Take good care. Just notice what you notice this week. Trust your own inner knowing, and I'll see you next week.